2 years after Robot World, a love letter to Exoforce, the LEGO designers are back at it again with a second 2000s era coaster, and this time it's another fan favorite theme. Power Miners is reborn in the brand new Lava Land, part of LEGO City's summer 2026 lineup. It's another unexpected but welcome surprise from LEGO City, and there's all sorts of secrets and Easter eggs to unpack here, so hey, let's take a closer look. Thank you to LEGO for sending over this summer's city sets. There's so much great stuff going on here in this wave, but I just couldn't wait anymore to talk about this set in particular. It's crazy that in the last 2 years I had my two favorite themes represented in LEGO City roller coasters. I promise I'm not paying anyone off at LEGO. I'm so glad that the designers are paying homage to LEGO's creative golden age, where I think the company was producing its best playsets ever. So it is with great joy that we return once again to the world of Power Miners. I wish I still had the Exoforce coaster assembled because the amount of similarities between these two sets is uncanny. For instance, you can see that the layouts are actually identical, and I have to imagine that both sets appeal to a very similar demographic. People my age that grew up with Exoforce and then later on Power Miners. And it is surprising that they chose to do Power Miners over the equally viable alternative of Rock Raiders, but we'll talk a bit about that later on. Let's go ahead and take a look at what this set all has to offer. I don't want to ignore him for long because he really does tend to be the focal point here, and that's the recreation of Crystal King. Now, many of you probably remember Crystal King. He was a standalone $20 set, the only brick-built rock monster in the Power Miners theme, but he still was made up of plenty of amazing custom pieces to really bring him to life. Most notably in the head, but also the painted rock armor plates that you'll find throughout the model. The 2026 remake, unsurprisingly, like Stealth Hunter from the Exoforce coaster, has been scaled down significantly. And the most unfortunate thing about making Crystal King in 2026 is that, of course, trans neon green has been cut from the LEGO color palette. I really do need to dedicate an entire video to the trans neon colors because they play such an important role in LEGO's history. Nonetheless, LEGO has decided to axe them completely. And the omission of that color here in this set is probably its biggest fault. Obviously, the designer wasn't going to be able to convince the whole company to bring the color back, but it is strange seeing my beloved Crystal King in trans medium green instead. Besides the color mismatch, I do think there is a lot of positive things going on here. A lot of modern elements that weren't available back in 2009 really helped to bring this character to life, especially at the smaller scale. He uses the same armor plating, this time of course in a different color and not painted, but that is a very intentional callback, I'm sure, which is nice to see. I do like the spikes on his arms, but the other big thing I would have liked to have seen here is the original Crystal King actually has the power crystals growing out of him. It would have been nice to see one or two on his shoulders, perhaps. Much like the Robot World Exoforce mech, you can fit a minifigure in here, and in that way, Crystal King kind of becomes an attraction himself within the larger amusement park. He's intended to be displayed here where you can put one of his feet on this pedestal and his arm can grip the side of the volcano for stability. He's got no elbow joints because LEGO hates elbows now for some reason, so he's not as posable as you'd like him to be. There's just a lot of limitations that the original model doesn't have that this one does. But I don't think anyone was ever going to argue that this is the superior Crystal King anyway. That's definitely not the only callback in this set. In addition to the coaster, you also get this smaller little amusement ride decorated with some mini Power Miners vehicles. One of them is instantly recognizable as the iconic Thunder Driller. If you're only familiar with one set from Power Miners, it's probably the Thunder Driller. This was certainly the poster child for the theme, and it's not hard to see why. It's kind of the perfect model. Its spinning drill function with the really specialized drill pieces introduced for Power Miners is legendary, and rolling this thing around simply makes me yearn for the mines. The other vehicle is a little harder to decipher. In all honesty, I think the designer probably was trying to just base this off a basic bulldozer, which there really isn't one within Power Miners. The only original Power Miners vehicle with a proper scoop in the front like this is Claw Digger. And this is clearly not trying to be Claw Digger, but I kind of wish it did. It took me 30 seconds to whip together a small little example of what this could have looked like as a mini Claw Digger. It doesn't hurt the functionality at all, and I think it would have added a lot of value to the set. The other alternative, and this is a bit of a stretch, but not impossible, is that this could be Boulder Blaster, the 7th limited edition model in the Power Miners lineup. Boulder Blaster doesn't have so much of a scoop as it does a plow in the front, but you could see some familiar details here, of course, like the treads on the sides, the grate in the front, and then even these small gas containers on the side. It probably needed a dynamite launching tower to be, once again, instantly recognizable, but with the treads, maybe this is a more likely scenario. Regardless, I think this is a really nice mini model. It looks fantastic all on its own, and perhaps it'll inspire me to do my own Power Miners bulldozer. There's a small knob out front which allows you to remotely spin all of the vehicles around, and they're all traveling around a giant transparent blue power crystal, which I think looks really great. Simple construction done really well. Working our way to the center of the model, there's this really clever feature here, and that is the selling of rock candy. And of course, in the Power Miners lore, the power crystals are always being consumed by the rock monsters, which causes the tremors above. So how ironic that now humans are consuming the power crystals here with the rock candy. That's just a really fun touch. And around the back of the stand too, there's a little trash bin with a discarded stick. Just really fun storytelling elements here. There's this great lava fall cascading down, and there is a function associated with that we'll get to later. And then this archway here provides access into the interior of the model. So if we flip things around, there are a few fun details to point out here. There's a little photo station because there is a camera that will take your picture as you go down the coaster, much like you'd find in any amusement park anywhere else in the world. And then we've also got what I like to think of as a reference to Lavatraz, which is a little water vending machine. This is one of my favorite play features in all of Power Miners. You insert a $100 bill and the vending machine spits out a can of soda. It's just such a goofy, fun feature in this really dangerous setting. Absolutely love it. Moving our way around though, you'll see this little mining station. I guess you could consider this to be a gift shop of sorts. It's got some tools and then some crystals as well. Regular standard power crystal and then one of the newer geodes. This is really fascinating to me. There's a little arcade machine in the back, much like what they had with Robot World that had some arcade machines as well. But this one, you'll note, is actually done up in the Rock Raiders colors. I was hoping that the sticker details and the game portrayed here would be some reference to an old Power Miners Flash game or even something within the old Rock Raiders game, but to the best of my knowledge, it just seems to be some sort of generic matching app game. If you have any idea what this could be, let me know. You'll also see the score of 0923 up there. I looked that up to see if it was a set of interest, but unfortunately it's just like some macaroni brick pack from decades ago. Doesn't seem to have anything to do with Rock Raiders or Power Miners. I, of course, am a Power Miners kid. I grew up just in that era, but I'm really glad that the Rock Raiders enjoyers got a little nod here at least. Ironically, this is one of those sets that I wish had more stickers, more callbacks, more references to Power Miners. I genuinely don't think that the graphic designer here felt passionately enough about Power Miners. I think there was a lot of potential here for just really interesting details that called back to this really beloved theme, and I'm kind of sad to see that that wasn't taken advantage of. Robot World didn't exactly go all out on the Exoforce side of things either, but there were still the recreated details from the original Stealth Hunter. There was Bionicle references. There was just a lot more fun to be found in the sticker sheets, especially for adults who grew up on these sets. It's a bit of a missed opportunity that there isn't more of that here. This is the first and probably only time that I'll be wishing for more stickers. Now, we gotta talk about the main event, which is the coaster itself. It loops around this really fun volcano build. I love the colors. You get some great contrast against the black with the bright orange, and that works really, really well for me. One thing that we really didn't get enough of within the Power Miners theme itself was terrain, so it's kind of fun that all these years later, they're finally doing good on that. As the coaster descends down the loop, there's actually some Mixel's ball joints that interact with a big splat gear. And this is pretty sweet. So yeah, when the coaster comes down, it launches some fiery boulders from the volcano. Very dangerous, definitely not up to code, but great for a play feature. So what it launched is actually a combination of two brand new elements for the summer of 2026, and it's a boulder piece, primarily introduced for the LEGO City construction line. And don't you worry, we'll be talking about the construction sets very soon, but they're largely hollow, so you can fit stuff in here. In the city construction sets, they use these as big geodes and put some gems inside. They're really cool. They're just a smaller version basically of the classic 4x4 boulder piece. There's 3 of these all together, and they're for the most part launched one at a time, though sometimes it launches 2. The set does introduce some Power Miners themed torsos here, but I guess I should say they're more Lava Land themed than Power Miners. They're meant to be generic, underpaid worker uniforms more so than rugged remakes of the original Power Miners suits. One really fun detail here that I really do appreciate from the graphic designer is the angry eyes made by the green collar in the shirt, meant to mimic what you'd see on Crystal King. While it's not a perfect Power Miner set by any means, this undeniably brought me a lot of joy, and I think it's going to bring a lot of Power Miners fans a lot of joy, just simply by the fact that it exists. LEGO sure does like to milk the nostalgia, but by golly, it sure does feel nice from time to time. If you'd like to learn more about the original Power Miners theme, boy oh boy are you in the right place. I've got 3 extra juicy videos going through every single set in the entire theme. But that's all I've got for this time. Thank you as always so much for watching, and I hope you have yourself a great life.